Okay, so this is the last Room Talk Thursday episode of the month of August. So, what I try to do, unless I forget, which happens more often than it should, is either the very last Thursday in a month or the first Thursday in a month, just kind of looking back. Like, what is all the shit that I did in August, and maybe a couple things I'm looking forward to in September. So, number one, just my creative projects. The VN that Clay and I are working on, it's coming along. As I believe I've said before, I'm taking a manuscript that I've written before and then just trying to convert it into like a VN script. There's 11 chapters. I'm near the end of chapter 3. I'll definitely finish it by the end of the week. Potentially by tonight. If not, I should finish it by like tomorrow. And of course, like there's more than the script. There's getting all the sound effects, there's getting the art, there's getting the music. We've been able to find some music. I've reached out to some artists. I haven't heard back from most of them at this point. So I might go ahead and start kind of taking some people off my short list and reaching out to some of the other people that are on the list. But that's how that's going. I have another manuscript that I'm working on for not a VN. It's just something else. It's very, very early on. I'm close to finishing chapter 1, which is about 20 pages or so, ish. I'm definitely not making it like my main priority. That's mostly juggling between the VN, whatever game I'm playing, whatever I'm reading, and then was like getting shows into. But I'm still trying to do it when I have the chance. Was there anything else? Oh, the other thing in terms of creative projects is Clay and I finally started that CCAT's character tier list. It looks like it's probably going to be about 3 parts because we've done the first 2 and there's not a whole lot of characters left. I'm really looking forward to finishing it. I'm having a lot of fun, and then when they're done, I'll try to get them uploaded. I'm expecting, because we both have days off, usually on Mondays and Tuesdays, we'll probably finish it next Monday. I doubt we'll do it sooner. But hopefully Monday, and then sometime next week, I can try to get them uploaded. So moving on from that, just gaming projects. I watched Clay play a good chunk of Earthbound and Hi-Fi Rush. Now, the Hi-Fi Rush is not a game on my list. It kind of should be, because the game just genuinely looks fun as fuck, and Clay loved it. Earthbound is a game on my list, and like, if I had just sat there and watched him play the entire game, I could take it off, but I didn't. I watched bits and pieces. I still need to play it for myself. At some point, I'd like to play Mother 3. I should probably also play Mother 1. I don't know when I will get to them. Maybe not this year, but at some point. I did play a good chunk of The Witcher. The game doesn't tell me my hour count, that's just a personal pet peeve with any game I play. I want to know how far into the game I am in terms of hours, which I think that's just kind of like a PS4, PS5 thing. Like, they just don't tell you that when you save, and it bothers me immensely. But regardless, I did drop the game. The more I played it, the more I realized it's not for me. I liked the world a lot. I liked the writing a lot. I liked Geralt. But just the actual gameplay, the combat didn't really work for me. I didn't super love how quests were designed. The more I played it, the more I thought, this is a book series? Okay, cool. I would like to read the books at some point, because I feel like this would be really cool to read, but not really to play. So, I started playing Xenosaga Episode 1, and I like it against my better judgment. It's one of those, like, I'm close to the end. I'm close enough to the end where it's like, I'm not just gonna drop it. But it's starting to really test my patience and piss me off. Like, for context, I'm in the Song of Nephilim. I'm on the bosses at the end. I just tried it. I got really fucking close, and then because it's a Xenosaga boss, it's like, okay, so you're doing really well? Yeah. You're having fun? Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna pull the fuck you button. Because a lot of bosses have that. Like, this has this AoE attack that'll do like 500 to 600 damage to everybody, which for context, we have like 700 to 800 health a pop. So that's really bad. So I'm like, okay, let me get into my mechs, because in Xenosaga, you have mechs. Because the mechs have a lot more health. So immediately it says, okay, cool, do you have protection from the stop status effect? No? Cool. That character now can't do anything for the rest of the fight because you can't heal a mech. You can't use mechs can't use items, and if you're on foot, you can't use items on a mech. You can't use spells on a mech. So that character just can't do anything the rest of the fight. Fuck you. How about this character that's in a mech? Yeah, like I'm gonna try to have him attack a few times. Oh look, all of your attacks missed, and now they're out of ammo. Get fucked. Now he's useless. And if you try to get him back on foot, well, A, that takes a whole ass turn. And two, given that the massive AoE is now this is just what the boss is doing, he's just fucked. And the other guy, oh, he's actually able to do shit, but boy, his health is going down and he can't heal a mech. It's just this imperfectly designed clusterfuck. And a lot of fights are like that. There's one boss that I fought a little bit ago that's not hard in the slightest. It just exists to annoy you. Like, everything it does, it disables some of your attacks. Like, it's far enough away so that you can't use some of your moves. I think it disabled other attacks. It'll just sometimes push someone to the back row where they can't attack, so you have to spend a turn moving them forward. What else did it do? There was, like, another one or two other things it did. Like, it is just because it's not very strong. Oh, it was also super tanky. Like, my attacks just weren't doing a lot of damage. Like, it is just designed to be a pain in the ass. Why? There's another boss that's whole gimmick is like there's two specific people you have to have in the fight. If it goes after this character, it does a strong AoE to everybody. So make sure it doesn't go after her. If it goes after this dude, it is a strong single target move, which is still ass, but a lot better. Okay, so what I need to do, because the game has a system where you can essentially just take an extra turn, or not even an extra turn, because you can't take 2 turns in a row. Enemies can, okay, I don't know, fucking second. But you can't, but you can just say, I want to move my turn up a little bit. Okay, that's cool, that's completely fine. The problem is sometimes, not even every time, I couldn't figure out what exactly triggered it, but sometimes when you attack that boss, the boss will say, cool, I'm going to go and take a turn right the fuck now. That does not count for its turn in the turn order. So, essentially, so let's say Xion attacks it, which Xion is not very strong, so you could argue Xion shouldn't be attacking anyways, but hey, sometimes I want my character to do fucking damage because nobody needed to be healed. So she can get a little bit in there. Then the boss can say, cool, I'm going to go after Xion right now. Oh, look, I moved after Xion. I do a strong AoE. Get fucked, everybody. Hey, you know what? I'm next in the turn order, so I can take another turn immediately. And look who just went. Xion. Xion didn't just go, you're the one that just went. Too bad. Xion went before me, so I get to do the AoE again. Like, it can do shit like that. That's what Xenosaga bosses do. It's like, here's the gimmick. Okay, this is a very doable gimmick. Here's the bullshit. Gosh, there was one. It was like you're fighting 2 bosses at once, which both have like pretty strong AoEs. It's like, okay, this sucks, but it's very doable. Then when they get to a certain part, they just start spamming instant death. And it'll hit you. It'll kill you. Like, oh, I just get fucked. Why? This was manageable. Like, this was fun. And then it's, here's the bullshit button, and then fuck you. Why? But against my better judgment, I like it, because I actually really like the battle system. I think the story seems interesting. I think the lore and the backstory is super interesting. I'm gonna finish it, I'll knock on wood, unless it, like, really pulls some shit. But I plan on finishing it and then playing the next 2. I have them, but I'm really, like, I was really excited to play Xenosaga, and now that I am, I'm like, I feel more wary of Xenosaga than anything else. And I mean, like, looking ahead, that's what my next game project is. It's, like I said, just trying to play more Xenosaga, and then, of course, the Pokemon DLC when it comes out, and I'm really looking forward to the Mewtwo event. Which I say, but it's a Terra raid, so it's gonna be dog shit. Like, I can't wait to do the Mewtwo thing, and then after a couple attempts, I hate this, and I hate everything about this. I'm now miserable. in terms of reading projects, like looking back, last month I was reading Well of Ascension, which, as I said in my review of it, I really like the book. There are some things I didn't super care for, and I really didn't like the ending. It's less that I didn't like the events that happened in the ending, although that is part of it. It just felt like the execution was really wonky. Like the pacing in basically the pacing in the climax, I thought was terrible. It was just off. And in a book that's very slow but methodical, like I felt like despite how slow it is, it felt well paced. It was like, okay, we're almost out of room now, so speed run shit. I'm like, nah. And I've started Hero of Ages, but it's not clicking with me. I'm like 200 pages in. Like it's not bad. Like I don't feel like it's badly written. It just feels unpleasant, and I feel like the hook of the first, like I could not put the first book down. And Well of Ascension, I was like, man, this is really interesting shit. Book 3, I'm not like, man, this is super interesting, super compelling. I'm like, okay, shit's happening. This is important, I suppose, but man, I'm just not feeling it. And I'll also admit, I looked up a major spoiler. Because one of the things is like, who is the big hero, the hero of ages? I looked it up. And I'm going to be honest, I looked it up because I figured out who it was. Just from reading those excerpts at the start of the chapters, after a few chapters, like, okay, here's my short list of people I think it is. Here's like my top 3. And I really think it's this one. And then, like, the next chapter I read specifically deconfirmed one of the other 2. And then the next chapter deconfirmed the other guy. I was like, okay, these were the only 2 other people I thought could maybe be it. But because of this and this, like, I don't want to get into any specific reasons because I don't want to reveal it. It's not here. When I talk about the book in full, of course I will. But I'm like, I figured it out to the point where I'm like, I don't want to get dicked around anymore. Just let me confirm if I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I know I'm not, and I wasn't. And I don't know if that makes me like, how do I feel about that? Is it like, cool, I'm right, I gotta keep reading, I gotta see where it goes, or if I'm like, cool, like was maybe the one thing that would have kept me going, but I had already figured it out, so I was just kind of getting more annoyed than anything. I haven't read it in a couple days. I should, because I do want to finish the series, because I loved the first book, and I loved most of the second book, but I mean, hopefully in like another reading session or 2, it'll start to really pick up, it'll start to really click, and be like, okay, didn't like the start, but man, it becomes amazing. Like, we'll see. After that, I think my next reading project is going to be reading Dune. And I did hear that the movie got delayed to 2024. And on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, that just fucking sucks. Like, I literally watching Oppenheimer, we got a trailer. Like, yeah, it's coming out in like October, and now it's not. It does mean I'll have time to finish it, though. Like, I'll take it. I'll find the silver lining in there, though. It should give me plenty of time to finish the book before the movie. What else do I want to say? Oh, yeah, in terms of shows, Symphogear, very fucking clearly, I watched Symphogear. I know I said I was going to do a video, like, these are kind of like my final thoughts, my overview. I haven't started working on it yet. I might do that later today. I don't know. I don't really know what I want to say. I think that's the problem. Like, I kind of thought about it. I was like, oh, I should talk about, like, all this. I'm like, but what do I really want to say about Symphogear? I don't know. But I'll probably try to work on that pretty soon. Clay and I are watching Stone Ocean. Interesting. We finished the first core. We're on the Survivor arc. Jose and I are watching My Adventures with Superman. I think later today we're going to try and like binge the rest of the season or so. I'm liking both shows quite a bit. I think then once I've done like my Symphogear video or kind of decided I don't have anything to say, I'm good. So like next week, I think that's a better way of saying it. Next week, I'm going to start a new show project just by myself. I'm going to finally watch season 2 of Witch for Mercury. I decided I was going to wait until the show was done, and then I still didn't watch it, and I started watching Symphogear, like, okay, but now we're going to get into that. I turned 30. Like, that's a big fucking thing that happened. That's pretty much it. The only other thing to say, like, looking forward to is football is coming back, and I'm really, really, really fucking hyped. Couple things that I, like, trades that I wasn't expecting to happen that did. Number one was the Saints trading Will Lutz to the Broncos. The fact that Sean Payton's like, I want my kicker back, that makes sense. I wasn't expecting us to actually lose him. Now, I know what's his name? Groupie. I want to say it's Blake Groupie. I'm pretty sure it starts with a B. It seems like he was doing quite well throughout camp and in games. So hopefully we still have a really good kicker. Like, I hope Big Nuts Lutz balls out in Denver. I mean, definitely sad to see him go. I've seen some Saints seasons, one particularly recently. I don't remember if it wasn't last year. I think it was the year before. It's like, yeah, not having a good kicker is really fucking bad. And we're giving up a good kicker. I hope the rookie balls out. I hope it's like, cool, like we're not missing a beat, but I'm a little wary. The other thing is Trey Lance getting traded and him getting flipped for a 4th round pick to Dallas. I was really not expecting that. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, like he's obviously going to get traded. The 49ers probably aren't going to take, 3 quarterbacks on the roster. It seems like Darnold's beating him out for the backup spot. They probably just needed like a good change of scenery for the kid. Purdy just seems like he's the guy after what happened last season. Maybe really what Lance needs is a fresh start somewhere. I'm like, yeah, sure. But the 49ers traded a quarterback after last season where the starter got injured, then the backup got injured, and then the 3rd string was balling out, but in the NFC Championship game, he got injured, and then they had in the 4th stringer, and he got injured. Like, that team with all of their injury woes at quarterback, like, how many seasons did they have with Jimmy G where he got, I think there was like 2, like not even counting last year, it was like 2 or 3 where he got injured. And I mean, yeah, he's not the QB on the team anymore. It's like, you guys have really bad fucking luck when it comes to your quarterbacks and their health. You mean you had a guy who you clearly liked because you wouldn't have given up 3 first-round picks to draft him. You wouldn't have given him the keys to the kingdom last year if you didn't think he was worth it. You traded a healthy guy that it seems like you liked. Given what happened, I am not wishing harm or injury on anybody. I'm genuinely really not. But I will not be surprised if something happens to the 49ers quarterbacks, because unfortunately, that seems to be the team's track record as of late. And I will say, if, God forbid, something happens to Purdy, or like his injury re-aggravates, or like he having trouble coming back from the injuries, like I've never what was he, dislocated his elbow? I've never had that happen, so I don't really know. It's like, how well are you able to throw after your recovery from that? Hopefully he's fine and he balls out. Like, I don't want to see the 49ers do well. I don't like the 49ers. But I'm not wishing bad performance on the players. Then Darnold comes in. Like, if Purdy gets injured or Purdy, he still needs time to recover, it seems. Darnold's still young. There's still a lot of time for him to develop, and maybe Kyle Shanahan could do that, but he's also had his time in the league, and yeah, a lot of that was under Adam Gase. But Darnold hasn't looked that good. So what if your starter is still recovering, and then the backup isn't that good? Man, you might have really wished you still had Trey Lance to use and Trey Lance to develop. Really? Like, if something shitty happens with their quarterback situation, I am not going to feel any sympathy. Like, I'll feel sympathy for the player, but I won't feel sympathy for the team. Also, you're like, man, Dallas was the one that, really came out and wanted his services. They gave you a 4th round pick. That was it? That was all it took? Holy shit. I mean, I guess Dallas probably was like, yeah, we could use a good backup. I mean, Cooper Rush, he was, from what I remember, he was balling out the other year, but they're like, all right, this is a guy we think we could really use. What about other teams that really needed a QB? I don't know, Tampa. Tampa didn't try to go to get Trey Lance? Tampa didn't flip a fourth rounder? Huh? Like, I could see someone like Carolina. It was like, all right, we have our rookie. Same with Houston. I mean, the Colts got a rookie, and they're trying to not do their whole QB carousel thing again. Like, we have a guy, but, and this was also after the draft, but I could have, maybe the Colts could have done it. Anyone in the NFC North or AFC North? No, the NFC North. Maybe the Lions. I mean, Goff seems to be their guy, but I could see the Lions going, I don't even know who their backup is. Like, maybe we want a good backup, and like, hey, maybe Trey Lance is our guy, but like, I don't know how, passionate they are about Goff. Tennessee? Well, I mean, Tennessee also has Levis, and which, that's a complete unknown. Anyone in the AFC? Who's the backup to the Dolphins? They're like Skylar. I almost said Skylar White. Like Skylar Thompson. I think he was fine when he came in relief, but I mean, maybe they could have said like, hey, like we really don't know about Tua's health. Again, God forbid anything happened to Tua. Like, maybe we really want someone we believe in, but maybe they believe in Skylar Thompson. I don't know. But all I'm saying is, like, it feels weird that the 49ers traded him given what happens. Also, that it was only a 4th round pick, and it wasn't a team that's like, we need a QB. It was the Cowboys, which, again, I mean, like, if you're a really good team, you'll want that insurance. It was just kind of interesting to be the way that all played out. But season's starting really soon. I'm really excited. Now, after a few weeks, we'll see if I'm like, yeah, I'm excited, Saints come marching in, or if I'm like, oh boy, we're terrible. Yay. But that's pretty much it. I'll see you next time I see you.